There's something about ghosts that always fascinated me. Ever since I was little, I loved horror films. The first job I ever dreamed of was to be a mortician. While all the other girls wanted to be princesses, I just wanted to help the dead. Then we fast forward through time, and I'm an adult mindlessly slaughtering endless hordes of undead in Dungeons & Dragons. And when I finally tried being a DM, it hit me like a fireball. Why do we fight the undead? Our ancestors, our loved ones, our parents and grandparents that once passed away, now used as cannon fodder. Just a minion to throw into a story. So in my world, I wanted to make them more. But to understand death, you first need life. And thank you to my Patreons for supporting this video. The flames of the fireplane flickered chaotically, nothing but a land of ash and waste and monsters. That is, till the entity pulled the drifting soul up into the fireplane, forming a new creature of metal and flesh. Alk, the first Elfara, the first person, and the first god of the fireplane. Her agonizing life was a lonely one. To be a god means nothing if you're surrounded by nothing. Or rather, no one. As she knelt on the small island in a lava lake, the loneliness finally got to her. Tears dripping down her face and into the lava. Her magic seeping into the pool below and granting her the only thing she ever wanted. A friend. This moment shaped the fireplane forever, and Alk filled it with life. Let there be life. So on to the fun parts, the dead. But real quick first, if you like the sounds of this, check out my Patreon where I make a world setting book and species are coming out right after Dungeon Jam. Okay, back to it. There were a lot of directions I considered for ghosts. As I said before, I've watched horror films since I was little. And to this day, my favorite horror films and shows that I drag my boyfriend to come watch with me, that he begrudgingly accepts doing, are the paranormal. Now, I have to say that, yeah, a lot of these films just kind of treat ghosts as random bad guys. And honestly though, I still kind of love them. But there are two ones that I particularly drew a lot of inspiration from. The first is my favorite show, The Haunting of Hill House. A show about a haunted house that tries to eat people. But it's actually so much more. It's really about how a family who lived there deals with death long after leaving. It's an excellent show and far from your typical scary story. And you should totally give it a watch if you haven't seen it. Or a read, I think it's a book too. But early on in the show, Steven, a ghost story writer, is quoted saying this: "A ghost can be a lot of things. A memory, a daydream, a secret, grief, anger, guilt. But in my experience, most of the time, they're just what we want to see. A ghost is a wish, a memory left behind." And in Steven's case, he was just poetically telling the lady that her husband isn't really haunting her, but that her love is still so real, and so are her memories. But in D&D, ghosts are real. I mean, we literally fight them. So the part here that really jumped out to me wasn't that it was all in her head and it was her memory, but the idea of ghosts being memories. Which brought me back to an old black and white horror film that I had when I was little, The Carnival of Souls. I watched this movie so many times, and I never really understood it, to be honest, at least while I was little. But the chaos still drew me in. The movie features a woman named Mary, who gets into a car accident at the start of the movie. The car plunges off the bridge into a river, and Mary is the only passenger that emerges. Her life becomes stranger and stranger, turning surreal after the accident. And she starts being haunted by this pale, crazy-looking man. After some time, she ends up finding this liminal, empty carnival on the edge of town, and you see that she slowly starts to fall to madness, being ushered into a dance hall at the carnival filled with ghosts. And if this sounds weird and crazy, to be honest, it was. There's a reason I never got it as a child. But the real twist to the movie was that Mary never came out of that car accident alive. This whole movie was a weird, surreal exploration of what happens after death. The more Mary isolated, the more her normal life she lost, the farther into madness she descended. And from that, I created Why We Fight Ghosts. He sat in his office, at his desk, just staring at his papers, desperately grasping to remember who he was. His wife had long since left. Or did he even have a wife at all? Who am I? Who am I? He repeated over and over as he sat in that chair. His face began to twist and corrode away as the memories faded, the body twisting till nothing but a husk remained. And as he sat there turning into a monstrous image of who he once was, only a few feet away sat the answer that could have helped him keep his form, a family picture. It's too bad he never looked up at it. What I really love about the versions of ghosts in my world is that it actually plays more into why we need the outer planes. It isn't just a place we put the dead just because. It's a way to save them from fading, from corrupting over time. It prevents your loved one from becoming a hollow husk that lashes out at everything around it. But if you're like me, you might be thinking, okay, that's great. But why aren't the ghosts being taken by the Raven Queen to the outer plane then? Well, let's circle back to that life. Elk had raised a city, but the fireplane was never meant to host life. Yet all life ended in death, and the fireplane seemed to sit in the Raven Queen's blind spot. In fact, almost no god ever glanced towards this plane, and death had begun to outnumber the living. Trapped in this plane forever, it seemed, till they twisted and corrupted over generations and lashed out at those who lived. Despite this, Elk continued to create. One of her daughters, Mauron, watched as her mother blindly created, not dealing with the consequences of her action, till Mauron had enough. Not out of passion, but out of despite. Mauron set out to fix what her mother had created, to put an end to the army of undead that plagued the Ashen Wastes. She learned how to travel to the outer planes herself, slowly mapping them out, determining where the souls should go, till she was ready. But frankly, at the start, she was miserable at this. She wasn't born to do this job, it was something that just had to be done, and no one else was stepping up. So she became the aspect of passage, Death's fairy for the fireplane, even if she was far from perfect at it. Unfortunately though, not all dead get noticed and found, and some put up such a fight, leaving Mauron to choose between leaving them behind or leaving 10 more in their place. In Encom, ghosts are both something to endlessly slaughter, but also a tragic story waiting to unfold, depending on the stage of their fading memories. Don't forget to check out my Patreon if you want to see more about my world, and have a fantastic day.